welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon Reviews. 3 reviews up this week. We're starting off things with the Super Fancy Pants Adventure. And this is a review that will be handled by sorry.
God damn it!
No,
I mean, you gotta tell me that I have. I know.
Yes.
I don't actually have this game.
Well, I mean, sorry, it's because, thinking last week.
Yeah, and I usually when we have someone who only does one, it's been me.
Well, it's like whenever we get a Switch code,
Right.
It's you because you are the one with the Switch. So
I sure am.
all right, that's right. So getting back on track here, live recording. We don't do editing usually, so this is all being kept in. Petty Fan will be handling Super Fancy Pants Adventure.
Oh,
He's
hi,
the
that's
one-
me.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So, I
So
guess
this is the 4th game in a series of Flash games.
something like that, I believe. I believe they're still available on Congregate. But yeah, this is very much in the vein of kind of like Super Meat Boy, I guess, / Sonic the Hedgehog almost. It's a very momentum-based kind of like parkour thing, only you have a weapon.
Huh. Is there any story here, or are you just a stick figure with orange pants?
There's kind of a story that, like, I guess
and anime hair.
It's something about like rain happened. I guess it's like a follow up from like the Flash games, because you live in kind of like a paper world almost, because you're kind of an ink drawing.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, his name is Fancy Pants Man.
Yes, and basically what happened is there was like some sort of rain or something like that the world's all kind of messed up. And you're just kind of originally there is like, I guess the mayor or whatever had a giant bathtub that flipped over. Like, I had a really hard time following the story. But like some of the off-writing is kind of funny. And like basically it goes from you trying to find your sister who ran off, who I guess is safe at the camp somewhere, you just missed her, to you end up go fighting a giant ink monster, and so on and so forth, that came from a giant ink volcano. It's kind of weird.
You don't say.
But I'd imagine it'd make more sense if I had time to go look at the other Fancy Pants games.
Yeah, looking at the old Wikipedias, it looks like the rest of them are Flash games. World 1 was released in 2006, World 2 was released in 2008, and World 3 was released in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So this is World 4, as it were, although it seems like it's way longer than the other ones.
Yeah. Like, I beat the game, and I, like, just running through, I think I clocked in about 3.5 hours of actual progression. But there are a whole bunch of side worlds or side mission things I didn't visit. Because there are like white doors with what look like windows on them, and if you go in them, they're like special bonus challenges. You can get like a hat or different color for your pants, or so on and so forth. And I guess, oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, you can keep going.
Like, I think the big one with this game is you get a pen that gives you special abilities, like you can use to write on like paper, on certain paper surfaces, which is
that what the light lavender stuff and some of the images and stuff is?
Yeah. Although it is
the
kind of...
the line you make, you can write on?
You can control where that line goes, but it's kind of finicky.
And you have to draw quickly, I assume.
You don't actually draw the line. You just kind of suggest where you want pen to go.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's not like
So you can,
Okami where you
just
take a
tilt
split.
up and down.
You can move the D-pad in all 4 directions, but it's kind of weird how it interprets where you want to go. Like, if you see the picture of it that just rolled by, it might take you a few seconds.
Mhm.
But you actually see a white arrow that tells you where you're going, and you can kind of maneuver that around yourself using the arrows.
So there's normal terrain that is like solid, and there are objects that you can destroy with your whatever your weapon is.
A fountain pen.
And then there are some places where the terrain is just a line that you can like cling on or
There are two
slide on.
There are 2 different types of lines. There's the yellow lines, which are climbing, or you can like kind of hold down on them and slide. And then there are red rails that you can kind of grind on, a la Sonic.
Okay.
And you have, I guess, 2 main methods of combat. For non-ink monsters, you can either beat them up with your pen, shoot ink at them from your pen, or jump on them. But for ink monsters, you can only attack them using the pen. Touching them will hurt you.
Uh-huh.
And this one's kind of lenient in where if you fall through a bottomless pit, you don't die immediately, or it just does health damage to you.
And puts you back outside the hole.
A little farther back, some levels have more lenient checkpoints than others, obviously, because, for progression.
Okay.
So some of them, the checkpoints right before maybe that pit or the one before it, but some of them, like some screens, there are no checkpoints at all.
Can you tell where the checkpoint is, or?
Not unless you fall in the pit.
Okay.
It's kind of fluid in that way, because like you can keep going for just about ever, and you wouldn't know where the checkpoints are unless you fell. Which I guess that's kind of a plus and a minus. But that's just me. Also, if you can see like little swirl collectible things, not only do those refill your health, but if you're they refill your health when you grab them, and when you have 100 of them, they will give you another life. If you lose all your lives, you start at the beginning of the world. Like,
So
the specific
like Mario
section.
64 coins.
Kinda, sorta, yeah. And, like, honestly, the worlds aren't that long if you're just blitzing for the end. Like, there are alternate paths in some of the later worlds. Some of them have pretty cool gimmicks, like shifting platforms, like physics-based shifting platforms. Like, if you jump on it, depending on how, much speed you jump on it with, it will lean at different speeds.
I guess that makes sense.
There are some that do, like, messes with the foreground and background, where you can go into a portal and it will shoot you in the background somewhere or bring you to the foreground. And there are also some springs that do that as well.
Is it always clear what's the foreground and background? Because
That's one of my issues with one of the later levels.
The art style seems to vary, kind of.
Unless you purposely pick a pants color that stands out against the background, it's really hard to tell where you are. So if you're just blitzing through the end and don't get a bunch of different pants colors, some of the later stages, the orange doesn't stand out very well, and you can end up losing track of yourself.
Huh.
So it's one of those things that it would be nice if they gave you better indication on where you went, especially on screens where there are like 3 or 4 different portals. You have no idea which one you're going to pop out of other than trial and error. And this is also a game you really should play on full screen, partly because of the issues with the last world. Because it looks like this is using hand-drawn assets, but I'm not fully sure. But partially because of that, windowed mode is unscalable, and it's really
Ah.
small.
Oh, okay. I guess I'd rather really small than really big, but it's still hard to see.
Well, like with really big, you can still kind of make yourself out in the I think it's the volcano world near the end, where they have the foreground and background stuff.
Yeah,
But
even things that are scalable like that are usually only scalable at like
yeah,
multiples.
well, I guess
Mhm.
also part of it is kind of spoilers. I don't want to get into why they don't really let you scale the window because something in the very end of the game.
Okay.
And let's see. Trying to think of what else. Like, there are also some nifty physics tricks you can do because you have a slide and a roll. Like, if you're facing backwards off an incline, you can roll down it just by hitting down. Or if you're running, you can slide and pick up some more speed. And you can kind of chain that on small slopes to, exceed the speed cap, really, because there aren't any boosts.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, jumping is modular. You don't have to worry about a fixed jump arc. You can control your height, you can control your distance, stuff like that. And there are also some like upgrades you can purchase if you want to use those spiral things you collect. There's your basic health upgrade, attack upgrade, and I believe there's a downward thrust and like a rising attack that can kind of be used as another jump if you know what you're doing, but it's kind of tricky to pull off.
Hmm.
And really there's not a whole lot. It's kind of a quick adventure type thing. Going into the price a little bit, it's costing $10, which on the one hand, it's kind of a little much for me personally because I'm not that great at these games, but I still blew through it in 3-4 hours. And there's like I don't see any like time attack mode or any real replay value other than, hey, cool, try and do something, try going on another path, or hey, that
So
jump looks
if
kind
that
of cool.
exists, you have to do a lot more to get anything out of it.
Yeah, like really the only replay value is if you really want to go through the bonus challenges and get the either pants, kellers, or hats, because of course there's hats.
But
But
why would you want hats when your head looks like you could cut logs with it?
and I guess one thing I almost forgot about the music. It's honestly kind of meh, personally. Like I ended up muting it and playing my own stuff because it was kind of getting a bit boring. But again, that's personal preference. I don't believe this soundtrack is available elsewhere except maybe the creator's website. But I'm not sure on that. And yeah, I guess the only other real thing is I believe like the original game is available in the modern physics for adventures in the like bathtub tower thing. So, it's just kind of an interesting, hey, look how the original game could have been if you had, the modern physics. Again, I've never played the first game, so I can't tell you if it's improved or not. But it's still a thing. If you're a fan of the first game, you can try it with the new physics. And I think that's it. Unless there's any questions you guys have.
Don't really know.
Me neither.
I
Yeah.
already asked most of mine, so.
Yeah, all in
Alright,
all, it's a decent game, but wait for a sale unless you're super into like physics, momentum-based platformer things.
Alright then, so that'll about do it for this review. Be sure to tune in after the break as we review Meet Possible Chapter 1.5. Yes, that is a real title of a real-ish game. More on that after the break.